Now, I'm going to take a break here. And when I come back, I'm going to demonstrate the folly and how they got rid of Jeff Sessions. Well, they didn't get rid of him yet, but making him recuse himself, forcing him to recuse himself for these upcoming investigations between whoever and the Trumps and the Russians rigging the election. And it's just so bogus. I can't tell you how all this infuriates me because I'm not the only one who knows this. And I'm certainly not the only one who can figure this out. But what has happened here to Jeff Sessions is there was no need for him to recuse himself. He was being asked questions about something that never even happened. And he wasn't even asked if he'd done anything. The question that he was asked, what would you do if any of this was true? What would you do? And they're now trying to say he committed perjury and that he's got to go. Doesn't matter that he did or didn't. That's not the point here. They're going to take as many scalps as they will be permitted to take. And we will be back. Don't go away. Welcome back, my good friends. It's Open Line Friday. To all of you on the phones, please be patient. I just looked at the roster here. I want to speak to each of you, but there's still some things that I want to set the table with. One other observation I've made that I'd like to share with you. Take just this week. Forget previous weeks. Take just this week. This week featuring supposedly more shocking revelations of Trump collusion with the Russians on the election. And now Jeff Sessions maybe committing perjury. Jeff Sessions having to recuse himself. Have you seen a single Republican on TV defending Jeff Sessions or Trump? Now, I can't say that I have, but I also can't say that I've watched cable news 24/7. So there may well have been. But one thing I do know, that no matter what point I tune to any cable news network during the day, for 5 minutes or 2 minutes, I'm going to hear the Democrat narrative, and somebody's going to be reacting to it. But I'm not sure I'm going to hear any pushback. Okay, maybe the Republicans don't like Trump, but I know they like Jeff Sessions. When I say don't like Trump, again, it's an establishment thing, folks. And the never-Trumpers, there's some dyed-in-the-wool conservatives who still can't come to grips with what happened, so they're not all that unhappy with what's happening to Trump. I don't understand it. To me, I thought we were all unified on the real enemy, which is the left. Liberalism, socialism, Democrats, environmentalist wackoism. I thought we were all unified, but apparently not. But there are facts, not opinion. There are facts at anybody's disposal to refute most all of this that's being alleged about Trump and being alleged about Sessions. And it's just like during the George W. Bush days. I don't see anybody doing any defense whatsoever. And so the Democrat media narrative, the establishment narrative, is carrying the day. Now to Sessions. Al Franken, this whole thing of him having to recuse and supposedly lying, Al Franken was asking questions of Sessions during his confirmation. Al Franken had just learned of that fake dossier. Remember now, this dossier, a fancy word for an intelligence report, was entirely manufactured. There wasn't a thing in it was true. The media had it for all of last summer and never ran it because they couldn't verify a single thing. Then the online website BuzzFeed decided, you know what, we're going to run it. And we're going to admit that we can't confirm any of it. We can't corroborate any of it. We can't find a single source to say any of it's true because it wasn't. It was purposely manufactured as an example document to Trump of the kind of things intel that people might be saying about him and that he should know. And so it was a learning exercise for Trump, essentially, from the intel people who were lobbying to get him to meet with him. So BuzzFeed runs it and admits there's no corroboration, and there's no proof, and there's no evidence. But they say, you need to see We at BuzzFeed, you need to see what's out there. So they ran it. That opened the floodgates and let every other network and newspaper run it under the same. So it's out there now. Now, once it's out there, the fact it's never been corroborated doesn't matter. Now it becomes an allegation. Now it becomes an accusation, and it's serious. So we have serious allegations about Trump hiring prostitutes to urinate on Obama's bed in Russia. And we must really get into that. Then we start searching for evidence. There isn't any. That just permits them to investigate for the next 10 years on it if they want to. So Franken gets hold of the document. And he's asking Sessions questions about this. He says CNN just published a story alleging that the intelligence community provided documents to the president-elect last week that included information that, quote, Russian operatives claim to have compromising personal financial information about Trump. These documents say there was a continuing exchange of information during the campaign between Trump surrogates and intermediaries for the Russian government. Again, I'm telling you this, Senator Sessions, because it's just now coming out, so you know. So if it's true, it's obviously extremely serious. And if there's any evidence that anyone affiliated with the Trump campaign communicated with the Russian government in the course of the campaign, what will you do? The question was not, have you conferred with the Russians? Did you help Trump urinate on the bed? None of that. This is so sleazy, a totally fake document is being used to question the next attorney general. And the question, what will you do? And Sessions said, Senator Franken, I'm not aware of any of those activities. I've been called a surrogate at a time or two in the campaign, and I did not have communications with the Russians, so I'm unable to comment on it. You want to talk about utter, total BS. He was, from that answer, they want to claim that he's committed perjury because I haven't communicated with the Russians. He was being asked about these specific fake events in a fake dossier, and he said he's not familiar with any of those events, and I haven't had communication. He lied! He committed perjury! No, he didn't. He didn't even need to recuse himself. That is just one of many examples. By the way, the drive-bys don't even know what I told you. There's a fake excerpt of the question that Franken asked going around. The drive-bys on they don't even know what really happened here. They're not informed. They're just robots. They're bots. They're just reporting what they've been told to report, pure and simple.